అంటే మార్నింగ్ లేసి చేసుకునేకి అని. ఓకే. లైవ్‌లోకి
Yeah.
వెళ్తాం. ఓకే. మరి లైవ్‌లో ఉన్నావు.
No, let's share our experience. ఇది live లో అంటే ఐఎమ్ నాట్
షేరింగ్ విత్ అదే థాట్
sharing.
దాంట్లోనే కదా ఉండేది. అర్థమైంది నాకు. నీకు ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్స్ ఏముంది మాధవి?
నాదా యాక్చువల్‌గా ఫస్ట్ 2 డేస్ చాలా టైరింగ్‌గా ఉన్నింది బికాస్ ఆఫ్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్ దట్ ఐఎమ్ డూయింగ్. అంటే ఇన్ మై పర్సనల్ లైఫ్ అండ్ హియర్ సర్జన్ అంటే మన 3-2-1 ఎలా చేయాలి, ఏం చేయాలి అనేది ఇట్ కమ్స్ ఇంటు యువర్ మైండ్ కదా. సో 2 days, yes, first day was very tired and second day was I could do everything properly. నిన్న మటుకు yesterday I was feeling very energetic until the night.
యా నేను నైట్ నీతోని దాకా గాయత్రి ఇది చాలా బాగుంది. అప్పటికే నాకు అయిపోయింది చాలా టైము. మధ్యలో నిద్రలోకి వెళ్ళిపోయినాను నేను. ఫస్ట్ లో ఉన్నాను, మళ్ళీ మధ్యలో నిద్రలోకి వెళ్ళిపోయినా. అంటే మళ్ళీ తెలియలే నాకు అసలు ఇంకేమి. అట్లా ఉన్నింది. చాలా బాగుంది గాయత్రి మంత్రంది. కానీ అప్పటికే నాకు అయిపోయింది కదా, పొద్దున్న 1.5 అవర్ అంతా అయింది. ముందు రోజు కూడా నిద్ర సరిగ్గా లేదు కదా, అందుకు ఫుల్ వెళ్ళిపోయినా. కానీ పొద్దున్న లేసినా కూడా ఆ ఎనర్జీ నిజంగానే వారందరూ ఎందుకు అన్ని అవర్స్ చేస్తారా అనేది అర్థమైంది మాధవి. అంటే ఆ ఎనర్జీ చూస్తే లోపల ఉత్త ఎనర్జీ కాదు, అయ్యో లైవ్ లో ఉన్నాను భయం వేస్తుంది కానీ ఆ లోపల జరిగే ఇన్నర్ హ్యాపీనెస్, ఏ పని చేస్తానా హ్యాపీగా ఉంటాను చూడు, అది చాలా ఆనందంగా ఉంది. అంటే విసుగు అనేది రాకుండా, వేరే వాళ్ళ పైన కోపం రాకుండా, అవన్నీ అంటే ఆ ఇన్నర్ అది అంటాం చూడు, మనం ఇన్నర్ హ్యాపీనెస్ మనకి ఎక్కువ జరిగినప్పుడు బయట ఎవరిని మన లోపల ఉండేది బయటకు వస్తుంది అంటారు కదా. అట్లా ఒక ఇంత విసుగు కూడా వేరే వాళ్ళ మీద రావడం లేదు అంటే అదే లోపల ఎంత హ్యాపీగా ఉన్నానో కదా అనే ఫీలింగ్ వచ్చింది. అలా చాలా బాగుంది అసలు. ఇంకా 21 డేస్ ఇట్లనే జరిగితే ఎట్లుంటుందో అట్ ది ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ ది డే అనేది చూడాలనుంది. కానీ మళ్ళీ దెన్ పక్క అంటే విపాసన కూడా నేను 10 డేస్ చేసినప్పుడు అస్సలు వదలకూడదని మళ్ళీ చేసి మళ్ళీ పక్కకు పోయినాను మాధవి. ఇంకా మళ్ళీ అన్ని దీంట్లో పడిపోయినాను. అక్కడ ఉన్నప్పుడు కూడా అదే జాయ్ ఇప్పుడు నాకు కలుగుతుంది. అంటే అక్కడ అన్ని మర్చిపోయి ఉంటాం కదా, ఇక్కడ ఇన్ కేస్ మనం అంతా ఉన్నాము. ఇప్పుడు ఇంకా ఎందుకు జరుగుతుందంటే ఇక్కడ హై ఎనర్జీస్ ఉండొచ్చు, అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం ఆ ప్యాటర్న్, ఆ ఆర్ట్ ఏదో తెలిసింది కదా నాకు. అంటే మనం ఇండివిజువల్ గానే తెలిసిపోతుంది కదా మాధవి, ఎవరికి ఏది పట్టుకుంటే ఏమి వస్తుంది అనేది. అది తెలిసిపోయింది కాబట్టి అనిపిస్తుంది నాకు. ఆల్మోస్ట్ సేమ్ ఉంటుంది అది కూడా విపాసన. అది కూడా అది ఆనాపాన చాలా మంది చెప్తా అంటారు కదా, అది ఫస్ట్ బ్రెత్ మీద ఎక్కువ 3 రోజులు కాన్సన్ట్రేట్ చేపిస్తారు కాబట్టి 2 ట్యూన్ అయినాయి బాగా. అది వదిలేసినాను నేను. కానీ ఇప్పుడు 21 డేస్ అయిన తర్వాత అంటే లోపల ఈ కల్మషాలన్నీ మనకు పతంజలి మహర్షి చెప్పినట్ల ఎక్కువ గంటలు చేసే కొద్దీ, పత్రిజీ సార్ చెప్పినట్లు కూడా వెళ్ళిపోతాయి మనకి లోపలివి కదా. అందుకే చూడు సార్ ఎప్పుడు ఏం చెప్తారు, ఎక్కువ నొప్పి ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి, ఎక్కువ డిసీజెస్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళు ఎక్కువ టైం చేసుకోండి అని ఎందుకు చెప్తాను అనేది కూడా. నా మోకాలు నొప్పి కొంచెం తగ్గుతా అంటే కూడా నాకు అర్థమైంది. బాల మేడం కూడా గుర్తొస్తున్నారు, తన బ్యాక్ పెయిన్ చేసుకున్నారు ఎక్కువ గంటలు చేసి అని చెప్తారే, అది నేను ఏది ఇంప్లిమెంట్ లో పెట్టలా, ఇప్పుడు ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ వస్తుంది అనేది అర్థమైంది. వావ్,
వెరీ నైస్ అమ్మా. అందుకే అనేది పత్రి సార్ సారీ 2 సార్
ఏమని ఎవరు వచ్చారా? లేదు మన ఇద్దరు.
ఇది ఏదో రాస్తున్నాను,
రాయి మాధవి.
ఒక్క నిమిషం. పత్రి సార్ అందుకే అంటారు, మనము మెడిటేషన్ చేస్తే ఏమీ అవసరం లేదు. ఏమి అంటే ఇప్పుడు చిన్నపిల్లలకి 10 minutes 15 minutes ఏజ్ని బట్టి ఎందుకు ఎక్కువ చేయమంటారు అంటే జస్ట్ గెట్ గోయింగ్ వాళ్ళకి. ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళ మైండ్ లో చాలా తక్కువ ఉంటాయి. వాట్ ఎవర్ ద క్రాప్ ఐ వుడ్ సే దట్ వి కీప్ ఇట్ ఇన్ ద మైండ్.
అవును, ఏజ్ అయ్యే కొద్ది ఎక్కువ కదా,
ఏజ్ అయ్యే కొద్ది ఎక్కువ ఉంటాయి. అండ్ దెన్ ఇప్పుడు నార్మల్ డే టు డే లైఫ్ లీడ్ చేయాలా అంటే హౌ మచ్ ఎవర్ టైం మనకిప్పుడు ఒక 40 minutes ఆర్ 50 minutes డిపెండింగ్ ఆన్ ద ఏజ్ చేయాలి అంటారు, రైట్? సో దట్ ఈస్ వన్ థింగ్. కానీ మనలో ఉండే సబ్కాన్షియస్ మైండ్లో మనం ఎన్ని పెట్టుకున్నామో అవన్నీ పోవాలి అంటే దెన్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు డూ ఫర్ లాంగర్ టైమ్ మెడిటేషన్. అండ్ ఇప్పుడు ఏదైనా డిసీజ్ ఉన్నా కానీ చేయాలన్నా కానీ వీ హ్యావ్ టు స్పెండ్ మోర్ టైమ్ ఆన్ మెడిటేషన్. సో
అవును.
దట్ ఈస్
ఎక్కువ
వాట్ ద ట్రిక్ ఈజ్. మనము ఎంత వేరే వాళ్ళ మాటలు విన్నా కానీ మనం చేసేదాకా, మనం ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ చేసేదాకా వీ కెనాట్ ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ ఇట్ టు ద పీపుల్.
అవును మాధవి. ఎందుకంటే విపాసనకు పోయినప్పుడు గూడా నాకు మైగ్రేన్ ఉండేది ఎళ్ళిపోయింది. ఆ 10 డేస్ కంటిన్యూయస్‌గా మిరకిల్స్ లాగా కొన్ని జరిగినాయి. అప్పుడు అర్థమైంది. లేపోతే నువ్వన్నట్ల నమ్మము కదా! మనకు జరగనంత వరకు నమ్మము. అంటే ఎక్కువ భాగం నమ్మము. అసలు ఈరోజు నాకేమనిపించిందంటే అసల ఫస్ట్ ఒకప్పుడు పాటలు పాడుకునేటప్పుడు 'నారాయణ' అనే పదం వినాలంటేనే అలా వైబ్రేషన్స్ వచ్చేవి. అది ఎక్కడైనా పలికేటప్పుడు గూడా. అట్లాంటిది ఇప్పుడు ఎన్ని తప్పుడొస్తాందంటే 'లాహిరి మహర్షి' గురించి వింటా అన్నా, ఆ పదాలు వింటా అన్నా అంటే ఆ లోపల అంత ఆనందం కలుగుతాంది. అంటే అవన్నీ ఎనర్జీస్ నువ్వొస్తాయంటావు చూడు. మామూలుగా 'పతంజలి ఎనర్జీస్' అని ముందు నువ్వు అంటంటే నాకు అర్థం కాలే. ఇంతమంది ఎనర్జీస్ వస్తాన్నాయనేది అర్థమైతాంది. లేకపోతే ఆ ఆనందం లోపల నువ్వంటావే ఇట్లా జలక్ అన్నట్ల ఆనందం. ఆ పేరు ఇంకా వింటా అనంగానే చెవుల్లోకి ఒక భయాన ఆనందము. నాకు 'నారాయణ' అనే పదంతో జరిగేది ముందు. 'నారాయణ నారాయణ' అని ఏవైనా పాటలు పాడినప్పుడు. అది ఇప్పుడు 'లాహిరి మహర్షి' ఇప్పుడు పొద్దున్న రెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది పార్ట్ వింటా అన్నా, ఇప్పుడు యోగానంద హ్మ్, హ్మ్, ది పరమహంస యోగానంద పదాలు వాళ్ళవి అంటే నేననేది నేమ్స్ విన్నా కూడా అంత ఆనందం వేస్తాంది అది తెలియకుండా. అంటే దానికంతా బ్యాక్‌గ్రౌండ్ ధ్యానం అని అర్థమైంది నాకు. అంటే లోపలుండే కల్మషాలన్నీ ఎళ్ళిపోతాన్నాయి. క్లీ క్లీన్ అయితాంది. అందుకు జరుగుతాయి. అంతే. అది
కరెక్ట్.
అర్థమైతాంది. కానీ దానికి సాధన మాత్రం ఆయనకదే గురువుకి ఎట్లా చెప్పినాడు చూడు శిష్యుడు ఆ సాధనని అది మిస్‌యూజ్ చేసుకోవద్దని చెప్పిండేది గూడా నాకు భలే నచ్చింది. కానీ ఆయన అయినా వచ్చినాను నీకు మాట ఇచ్చినాననడం.
ఏమి అంటే మాటిచ్చారు కదా!
హ్మ్. నేను
అందుకనే
ఇట్లా ఇట్లా
వచ్చాను.
ఇట్లాంటి విషయాలకు గో ఆన్ అట్లా అయిపోతాను మాధవి. నువ్వు చెప్పు మాధవి వింటా.
ఏమ్మా?
నేను ఇట్లా ఎక్సైట్‌మెంట్, ఆనందంలో దాన్ని ఎక్కువ పొందేటప్పుడు మాట్లాడుతానే ఉంటాను. నువ్వు మాట్లాడు ఇప్పుడు నేను వింటాను అంటాను. నీ
నో,
ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్సెస్
నో. సీ
చెప్పు.
వెన్ నువ్వు మాట్లాడాలి అనిపించినప్పుడు ఐ విల్ లెట్ యూ టాక్. మనము ఒక్కొక్కసారి ఏమవుతుంది అంటే ఎక్స్‌ప్రెస్ చేస్తూ ఉంటే అలానే ఎక్స్‌ప్రెస్ చేయాలి. ఐ థింక్ దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఇట్ ఈస్, రైట్? ఐ మీన్ యాస్ ఏ
అసలిప్పుడు నువ్వు లేట్ అన్నా కూడా అదే నేను ఫస్ట్ చూసుకోలేదు. మళ్ళీ అవును ఈరోజు హాఫ్ అన్ అవరే కదా! 12 కదా! అనుకున్నప్పుడు నేను 11:30కి అన్నట్లు రెడీ అయినాను. మళ్ళీ ఒక 15 మినిట్స్ కూర్చుందాం కూర్చున్నప్పుడు గూడా ఎంత ఎన ఎనర్జీ ఉన్నింది మాధవి. ఈ 15 మినిట్స్ కూడా. అంటే దాని కోసమే అని కాకుండా ఎప్పుడు పడితే అప్పుడు కూర్చున్నప్పుడు గూడా వస్తాందే అనే ఫీలింగు. అదేమి
హ్మ్.
ఈ కంటిన్యూయస్‌గా ఈ అవర్స్ ఇంక్రీజ్ చేసినాం కాబట్టి అనిపించింది నాకు.
అవును.
ఎన్ ఎందుకొస్తాంది ఇక్కడ కూర్చున్నా? ముందు రాలేదు ఇట్లా మరి నాకెందుకు మరి? అది.
కరెక్ట్.
అదనిపిస్తుంది. ఆ! ఇప్పుడు చూడు ఊరికే 15 మినిట్స్ ఏదో మిగిలింది కదా! ఇప్పుడు అంటే అది ఒక పక్కన ఒక 3 అవర్స్‌లో కౌంట్ లేక అనుకుందాంలే అని ఉన్నా కూడా లోపల. బట్ వెన్ ఐ సాట్ ఆ 15 మినిట్స్ కళ్ళు తెరచలేకపోయినాను. మళ్ళీ టైం అయిపోతుందేమో మాధవి వచ్చేస్తుందని మళ్ళీ తెరిచినా నేను. అది జరిగింది ఈ లాస్ట్ 15 మినిట్స్. అందుకే ఇంత
అవును.
ఆనందంలో ఉన్నా.
ఆనందమే ఆనందము. ఈ మెడిటేషన్ చేస్తే ఎక్కడ లేని ఆనందం మనకొస్తుంది. దట్ ఈస్
ఈరోజు మా వాడి బర్త్‌డే 30థ్ బర్త్‌డే అమావాస్య రోజు పుట్టినాడు. ఫిబ్రవరి 3.
ఈరోజు అమావాస్యనా?
ఇప్పుడు కాదు 92 అప్పుడు
ఓకే.
92లో అది
ఓకే.
అమావాస్య
ఓకే.
ఆ
ఓకే.
రోజు.
ఓకే. ఓకే.
ఆ! ఈరోజు వాడి బర్త్‌డే.
Looks like lot of people want to come only for book reading.
కానీ ఇదే చానా బావుంటుంది. నాకిది గూడా ఇష్టమే.
యాహ్! అదే అనుకున్నాను. ఐ థాట్ లైక్ ఐ షుడ్ ఇన్సిస్ట్ దట్ యూ హావ్ టు కమ్ ఫర్ 15 మినిట్స్ అని వచ్చింది మెసేజ్. అట్‌లీస్ట్ ఐ ఫెల్ట్ లైక్ సెండింగ్ ఇట్. కానీ పంపించలేదు. పంపిస్తాను.
మాధవి ఒక్కటే ఫస్ట్ డే సెకండ్ డేనా మెడిటేషన్‌ది పెట్టావే. ఈరోజు థర్డ్ డే గదా! నిన్నటిది కాదు మొన్నటిది. ఆ మ్యూజిక్ కావాలి మాధవి నాకు. ఎంత
నాకు
బాగుంటుందో
ఆ రోజు
ఇప్పుడు
అడిగితే ఐ విల్
ఈసారి
రిమెంబర్.
ఎప్పుడన్నా పెట్టినప్పుడు గుర్తు చేస్తా. అది చాలా బాగుంటుంది. నాకు ఇష్టం, అది పెట్టుకోవాలని ఇష్టము. కంటిన్యూస్‌గా 1 అవర్ ఉంటే ఎంత బాగుంటుందనే ఫీలింగ్ వస్తుంది. చూస్తాను. అడుగుతా ఈసారి.
యాహ్! ఎందుకంటే నేను అంటే ప్లాన్ చెయ్యను శైలజ. అలా చూస్తాను. నాకేదనిపిస్తే అది పెడతాను. సో, ప్లాన్ చేస్తే యూ విల్ రిమెంబర్ బెటర్.
హ్మ్.
బట్ నేను మోస్ట్
లేదు
ఆఫ్ ద
ఈసారి వచ్చినప్పుడు నేను చెప్తానులే అప్పుడు. ఈసారి వచ్చినప్పుడు వెంటనే అదయిన వెంటనే సెషన్ అయిన వెంటనే చెప్తా. ఓకే.
అప్పుడే చెప్పినా దెన్ ఐ కెన్
హ్మ్.
జస్ట్ సెండ్
హ్మ్.
ఇట్.
హ్మ్.
మోస్ట్‌లీ
వస్తుందిలే తప్పకుండా.
యాహ్! నాకనుకుంటున్నాను ఈషాదే పెట్టుంటాను. 13 మినిట్స్ అంటే. నేను ఇప్పుడు అంటే మామూలుగా ఇవన్నీ చేస్తాను కదా! అండ్ సెండింగ్ ద మెసేజెస్ రైట్?
హ్మ్.
ఐ
హ్మ్.
ఫీల్ ఇట్ ఈస్ సచ్ ఎ బిగ్ థింగ్.
ఓకే.
అంటే
ఓకే.
లైక్ చాలా ఏదో పెద్ద పని అన్నట్టు ఫీల్ చేసుకుంటూ ఉంటానన్నమాట.
హ్మ్.
అదెందుకో
అవును.
తెలీదు. అంటే
మేమందరం ఉన్నాం గదా! అందుకే.
ఇట్ ఈస్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఈజియెస్ట్ థింగ్.
ఆ!
అంటే
యాహ్! యాహ్!
పంపించేది రైట్.
కరెక్ట్.
కానీ అది ఎంతో పెద్ద గగనం మాదిరి అనిపిస్తుంది. అంటే
హ్మ్.
అది నేను పంపించాలా అనే అదేమంటారు కదా! అన్నీ
హ్మ్.
ప్రతిదీ చేసుకొని మాట్లాడుతుంటే సరిగ్గా రావట్లేదు. బట్
చేసేసి చేసినంత
అయిపోయింది.
వరకు.
లివ్ ఇన్ ద ప్రెజెంట్ మూమెంట్ అని ఇంకొచ్చేసాను ఇక్కడికి.
హ్మ్.
సో, ఆలోచిస్తుంటే దాని గురించి ఎందుకిలా అవుతుంది అంటే, సో
హ్మ్.
ఎసెన్షియల్లీ ఇట్ ఈస్ టెల్లింగ్ మీ దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ వాట్ యూ వాంట్ టు డూ. యూ షుడ్ ఆస్క్
అవును.
అదర్స్ టు డూ ఇట్. అందుకనే ఇట్ ఈస్ బికమింగ్ సో డిఫికల్ట్ ఫర్ మీ. ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ బికాజ్
యాహ్!
ఐ కెనాట్ డూ ఇట్. బట్ ఏమి
యూ
అంటే
క్యాన్. ఆ!
మెసేజెస్ నాకు ఇలానే వస్తాయన్నమాట. ఏదైనా ఇలా అందరూ చెప్తారు, పెడతారు అని అంటారు కదా! సో,
హ్మ్.
నాకెలా ఉంటుంది అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఆలోచిస్తే దాని గురించి ఎందుకు ఇంత కష్టమవుతుంది? నేను ఊరికే ఫార్వర్డ్ చేసేదే కదా! హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్, 1 అవర్ ముందు ఇప్పుడు నీకు చెప్పాను కదా! ఎలా చేయాలని. నీకు చెప్పినప్పుడు నాకు తెలుసు ఎలా చేయాలి అని. కానీ
అవును.
ఎందుకు చేయలేకపోతున్నాను అంటే దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ సంథింగ్ యూ షుడ్ డూ. యూ షుడ్ ఆస్క్ అదర్స్ టు డూ ఇట్.
అది నీ వర్క్ కాదు అని
ఆ!
చెప్పారు.
ఆ!
నీది వేరే
కరెక్ట్.
ఉంది. నీది
ఆ!
వేరే
అది
ఉంది అని.
నీ నీ పని గాదు. నీ వర్క్
ఆ!
కాదు. వేరే వాళ్ళకియ్యాలి అని.
అంటే నీదింకా హయ్యర్ వేరే పనుంటే, ఈ కిందవి కొన్ని తగ్గించుకుంటే కదా దానిల పైన కాన్సంట్రేట్ చేయగలుగుతావు. అందుకు వేరే పని నీదుంది కాబట్టి, ఇది ఎవరైనా అంతే గదా! మామూలుగా లీడరు ఫాలోవర్స్‌తో చేపిస్తాడు. చేపిచ్చేది కూడా రావల్ల. తను హయ్యర్‌గా ఆలోచిస్తాడు. మా హస్బెండ్ ఎప్పుడు అదే అంటారు. లైవ్‌లో ఉన్నాం గానీ, ఓకే. ఎవరు చూస్తారులే మాట్లాడతా. క్లెరికల్ వర్క్‌కి నువ్వు సూట్ అయితావు శైలు అంటాడు నన్ని. అంటే తనకది అంత హేట్ చేస్తాడనమాట. ఒక పోస్ట్ ఆఫీస్‌కి పోవాలన్నా, ఏదైనా క్లెరికల్ వర్క్ చేయాలన్నా, నా కళ్ళు మాత్రం అసలు ఎంత స్క్రీన్ పైన టక్ 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 టక ఎళ్ళిపోతాయి అట్లా గుర్తుపట్టేకి.
హ్మ్.
అంటే యూ ఆర్ సూటబుల్ ఫర్ థిస్ అంటాడు. అంటే ఇప్పుడు మనం వాళ్ళు సూటబుల్ అని వాళ్ళు అంటన్నారు. ఒక్కొక్కరి వర్క్ మనం ఏమేమి తీసుకొనొచ్చింటామో అవి మాదివి అంతే అని ఇప్పుడు అనిపిస్తాంది దీంట్లోకొచ్చిన తర్వాత.
అది కరెక్ట్. ఇప్పుడు మనం ఎందుకొస్తాం ఈ లైఫ్‌కి? ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్సెస్ తీసుకోవడానికొస్తాము. ఇప్పుడు ఒక పని ఎక్కువ, ఒక పని తక్కువ అని కాదు. ఇప్పుడు నాకీ ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్స్ కావాలి అంటే నేనిది చేస్తాను. మీకీ ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్స్ కావాలంటే మీరిది చేస్తారు. ఇప్పుడు ఏ టు జీ ఉంటాయి. దాంట్లో ప్రతి లైఫ్‌లోనూ మనం ఒక్కొక్క లెటర్ ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్స్ చేయాల. సో, దానికి మనం దాన్ని ఆ ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్స్ అంటే ఆ వర్క్ చేస్తూ మనం దాన్ని మాస్టరీ చేస్తాం. సో, అలా ఉన్నప్పుడు దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ద వర్క్ అంటే మనం ఏదైనా అంటే లైక్ 10 డిఫరెంట్ పనులున్నాయనుకో, మనము సే లైక్ పని 5 ఈస్ సో ఫేవరెట్ టు మీ. అండ్ ద అదర్ థింగ్స్ ఐయామ్ లైక్, ఓహ్ మై గాడ్! అబ్బా! చెయ్యాలా అన్నట్టుంటది. సో,
హ్మ్.
మనకి ఏది బాగా అనిపిస్తుందో, ఏది చెయ్యాలనిపిస్తుందో అదే మనం ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్స్ తీసుకోవడానికొచ్చాం.
అవును.
సో, మనం అది రికగ్నైజ్ చేసి దాని మీద ఫోకస్ చేసి మనం దాని మీద పని చేస్తే
హ్మ్. హ్మ్.
దెన్ ఇట్ విల్ బి రియల్లీ
హ్మ్.
హెల్ప్‌ఫుల్.
హ్మ్. ఇక్కడ
ఇంకొకటి
మళ్ళీ
కూడా ఏదో
ఇంకోటుంటుంది. హ్మ్.
ఇంకొకటి ఇది
హ్మ్.
వన్ మోర్ థింగ్ దట్ ఐ కేమ్ అక్రాస్ ఇస్ ఇప్పుడు పతంజలి మహర్షిలో మొన్న ఏది
హ్మ్.
అంటే మనకి వర్క్ ఎలా వస్తుంది అనేది నేను విభూతి పదం స్లైడ్స్ చేస్తున్నాను కదా!
అవును.
ఆ స్లైడ్స్ చేస్తుంటే దాంట్లో యూ హావ్ టు రియల్లీ అండర్‌స్టాండ్ ద కంటెంట్ టు పుట్ ఇట్ ఇన్ ద స్లైడ్. అంటే
అవును.
అది అర్థం కాకపోతే గిన ఇంకా సతమతం అవుతూ ఉంటానులే అని.
అవునవును.
కానీ అది చేశాక అప్పుడు అనిపించలేదు. కానీ
హ్మ్.
కొన్ని రోజుల తర్వాత అందరూ ఎక్స్‌పీరియన్స్ వస్తుందంటున్నారు.
హ్మ్.
నాకెందుకు విజువల్‌గా కనిపించదు అని క్వెషన్ ఉంటది. మామూలుగా నాకు వచ్చింది నాది బాగుంటుంది అన్నట్టు అనుకునేదాన్ని. ఎప్పుడు పర్వాలేదులే, ఇట్స్ ఓకే, నేను హ్యాపీగా ఉన్నా, అన్ని బాగా పని చేస్తున్నాను, ఇంతకన్నా అంటే అన్ని ప్రతి దాంట్లో తీసుకొని పని చేస్తున్నా. సో దట్ ఈస్ ఐఎమ్ వెరీ హ్యాపీ విత్ దట్. మరి ఒక్కొక్కసారి మన మెంటల్ మైండ్ ఉంటుంది కదా, ఎందుకు
అవును, మనుషులమే కదా మనం మనుషులమే కదా, లేకపోతే డివినిటీ అంత అయితే దేవుళ్ళు అయిపోతాం మరి.
సో అది అనుకున్నానన్నమాట. అప్పుడు ఒక ఏం చేశాను అంటే, ఒక సూత్రంలో, విభూతి పదం సూత్రంలో చెప్తారనమాట. ఇప్పుడు ధారణ ధ్యాన సమాధికి రావాలి అంటే మనము ఆ ధారణ అంటే ఒకదాన్ని చూస్తూ ఉండడం, అది చూస్తూనే దాన్ని ధ్యానంలోకి వెళ్ళడం. ధ్యానం వెళ్ళాక ధ్యానంలోకి వెళ్తే అది ఎప్పుడు మనం ధ్యానంలోకి వెళ్తాము? ఇప్పుడు భావము, రూపము ఉంది కదా. ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఏమి ఇచ్చారు అంటే, శ్రీకృష్ణుడి మనం తలుచుకున్న వెంటనే శ్రీకృష్ణుడి రూపం గుర్తొస్తుంది. ఆయన నెమలి పింఛము, ఆయనది అంటే లైక్ నడుముకి ఇట్లా కట్టేసి పంచ కట్టింది, షెల్లా వేసుకుంది, అలా అన్ని గుర్తొస్తాయి, రైట్? సో అది రూపం. ఆ రూపాన్ని చూస్తూ మనము ధ్యానం చేస్తాం. సారీ, రూపాన్ని చూస్తూ ధారణ, దాన్ని రూపాన్ని చూస్తూ మనము ఆలోచిస్తూ కళ్ళు మూసుకొని దాని నుంచి ధారణ వస్తుందంట. ఆ ధారణలో నుంచి ధ్యానం అంటే అప్పుడు కళ్ళు మూసుకొని చేస్తాం. ధారణ అంటే చూడడం, ఇప్పుడు నేను నిన్ను చూస్తూ చేస్తున్నాను, అది ధారణ. ధ్యానం అంటే కళ్ళు మూసుకొని నేను ఆ రూపాన్ని ఇంకా చేస్తున్నా. మరి సమాధిలోకి ఎప్పుడు వెళ్తామంటే ఆ రూపం వదిలేసి భావంలోకి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు. అంటే ఆ భావము అనేది ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది మనకి అంటే, అది ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ చేస్తే గానీ తెలీదు. సో నేను ఇప్పుడు ఏమనుకుంటున్నాను అంటే, ఇప్పుడు నాకి రూపం అనేది లైక్ విజువల్ గా చూసేది, రైట్? కళ్ళు మూసుకొని అయినా విజువల్ గా చూసేది
రూపము. ధారణ అంటే లోపల జరిగేది. ధారణ మీన్స్
మరి ఇప్పుడు నేను రూపం కాదు, ఇప్పుడు భావాన్ని ఫీల్ అవుతానన్నమాట. ఇప్పుడు నాకు ఏదైనా మెసేజ్ వచ్చిందంటే అది భావంగానే వస్తుంది, నాకు మాటలుగా రాదు. మాటలు అంటే కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఎ రూపం, మాటలన్నా లేకుంటే ఎవరైనా చెప్తున్నారు చేస్తున్నారంటే, రైట్?
భావన అంటే థాట్ లాగా వస్తుందంటావా?
అంటే నాకు ఐ కెన్ సెన్స్ ఇట్.
థాట్ ఈస్ డిఫరెంటా? నువ్వు చెప్పే భావన వేరేనా? నాకు అర్థం కాలే.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు వెన్ యూ ఫీల్ ద ఎనర్జీ, వెన్ యూఆర్ డూయింగ్ మెడిటేషన్, యూ ఫీల్ ద ఎనర్జీ, రైట్? దట్ ఈస్ ద భావన. కానీ ఆ ఎనర్జీని మనం చూడలేము, కళ్ళతో చూడలేము, కానీ యూ కెన్ ఫీల్ ఇట్.
మొన్న చెప్పినావు కదా, అల్సట్ ఉన్నప్పుడు ప్రాచి మాట్లాడుతుంటే ఒకసారి ఇట్లా అయింది అని, ఎనర్జీ టక్ అని పాస్ అయినట్లు, అట్లా కదా?
సో అలాంటి భావనలు వస్తాయన్నమాట. మాధవి నువ్వు ఇది చెయ్యాలి అనే భావన వస్తుంది, కానీ ఎవరు నాకు చెప్పినట్టు అనిపించదు. సో నేను అనుకున్నాను, ఓ మాధవి పోనీలే, నువ్వు నెక్స్ట్ లెవెల్ ఆఫ్ మెడిటేషన్ లో ఉన్నావు అనిపించింది.
సరోజ గుల్లపల్లి మేడం కూడా ఇట్లే చెప్తారు, నాకు ఎప్పుడు ఏవి కనపడలేదు అని. మళ్ళీ అవర్స్ట్ కదా, మళ్ళీ తనవి అసలు కళ్ళు మూసుకొని చెప్తా అంటే చెప్తా వెళ్ళిపోతుంది కదా. అట్లనే తను చూస్తా అంటారు ఏదైనా 1000 Streets of Joy ఎప్పుడన్నా వింటే, ఒక ధారలాగా అదేమంటారు, కింద అంటే ఒక్కదానికి గుడితి లేకోకుండా అట్లా చెప్పేస్తా పోతా అంటారు కదా మేడం ఏదన్నా. కానీ ఎప్పుడంట ఎవరన్నా మధ్యలో క్వశ్చన్స్ లాస్ట్ లో వేసేటప్పుడు నాకు అది రాలా ఇది రాలా అంటే, నాకు ఇన్నేళ్ళు చేసినా నాకు లేదు, అది ఎవరి వాళ్ళ డిజైన్ అది అంతే అని చెప్తా అంటారు.
డిజైన్ అది నేను కూడా అలానే అనుకున్నాను. బట్ కానీ నాకు ఇప్పుడు ఏమనిపిస్తుంది అంటే, మేబీ ఐఎమ్ ఫీలింగ్ దట్ ఐఎమ్ ఇన్ ద నెక్స్ట్ లెవెల్ ఆఫ్ మెడిటేషన్. ఇప్పుడు రూపం లేకుండా భావంలోనే కనిపిస్తోంది నాకు. ఎన్నిసార్లు అనుకున్నాను మీరు కనిపించాలి, చెయ్యాలి అని. ఒక్కొక్కసారి డీప్ గా మెడిటేషన్ పోయినప్పుడు ఏమనిపిస్తుంది అంటే, అంటే లవ్ అండ్ డివోషన్ అంటారు కదా, ఒక ఫ్యూ సెకండ్స్ ముందర దేవి ఉన్నట్టు ఇలా తల పెట్టేసి హ్యాపీగా చూసినట్టు అనిపిస్తుంది. బట్ ఐ డోంట్ సీ ద రూపం, I just get the భావం అన్నమాట. లైక్ as though somebody is in front of me and inner bliss ఎలా వస్తుందో అలా ఒక few seconds వస్తుంది
లోపల నుంచే.
కానీ ఎవరైనా ముందరున్నారా అంటే, కాన్షియస్ గానే ఉంటా కదా, ఎవరైనా ముందరున్నారంటే ఎవరు ఉండరు, కానీ ఆ భావం మటుకు చాలా అనిపిస్తుంది. అది నాకు ఎప్పుడు తెలిసింది అంటే, మొన్న మేడంతో మాట్లాడేటప్పుడు రూపము భావము అన్నట్టు చెప్తా ఉంటుంది అనమాట. అప్పుడు అనిపించింది, అప్పుడు క్లిక్ అయింది నాకు.
ఆ ఎపిసోడ్ వినేటప్పుడా? ఆ ఎపిసోడ్ మొన్న విభూతి పాదంది
ఈమెతో లేదు, ఓంకార
అమ్మతో
ప్రణవనాదం
ఆ
మేడంతో
ఓంకార
మాట్లాడాను.
అమ్మతోనా? ఓకే ఓకే. అది
సో
కూడా
ఆమెతో
బాగుందండి. నాకు లేటు కానీ నాకు కూడా లేటే చాలా బాగుంది.
సో ఆమెతో మాట్లాడినప్పుడు అప్పుడు క్లిక్ అయింది. నాకు రూపము భావము అని అప్పుడు ఓకే మాది దిస్ ఇస్ వాట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అన్నట్టు అనిపించింది అనమాట. సో ఐ ఫెల్ట్ గుడ్. అంటే నన్ను నేనే తెలుసుకున్నాను అని.
అవును. అదే మరి ఇంక అవగాహన ముందు మనం తెలుసుకోని స్థితిలో ఉన్నాము. మనకు క్లారిటీ వస్తా పోతాయి. చూడు ఇప్పుడు నేనన్నా గదా! నాతో చేపిస్తా అన్నాడు. ఆ అనుభవాన్ని ఈ అనుభవాన్ని పొందేకి అది రాత్రి ఒకరోజు ఎక్కువ చేసిన తర్వాత నిద్ర రాకుండా చేసేసి నీకు పొద్దున పుట్లే సూటబుల్ అని చెప్పినాడు. ఇవన్నీ మనకి ఇన్నర్‌గా వచ్చేటివే కదా! వేరే వాళ్ళు నేను అని పెట్టుకోవచ్చు. మనమేమంటామంటే ఏమొస్తాదంటే అదేదో జరుగుతాంది సంథింగ్ యూనివర్స్ నుంచి జరుగుతాంది అనే ఫీలింగ్ వస్తుంది మనకు కదా! అంటే దో వి హావ్ డిజైన్డ్ అవర్ సెల్వ్స్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్. బట్ మనకిప్పుడు భగవద్గీతలో చెప్పినట్ల నేను అనుకోకుండా ఎట్లా అంటామో అట్లా వచ్చేస్తుంది. ఏదో జరుగుతాంది, ప్యాటర్న్ జరుగుతాందనేది గమనిస్తాం చూడు మనం. ప్యాటర్న్ ఏదో జరుగుతాందని. ఈ లైఫ్‌లో కానీ, నా లైఫ్‌లో కానీ, ఈ స్పిరిచువల్ పాత్‌లో ఉన్నప్పుడు. సమ్ ప్యాటర్న్ అది నువ్వన్నట్లు ఇంతకుముందు ఫ్యామిలీస్ గురించి ఎవరెవరి ఫ్యామిలీలో ఒక్కొక్కటి ఫ్యామిలీ అనేది ఒకటే అయినా డిఫరెంట్ కదన్నట్టు ఎవరిది వాళ్ళదే. ప్యాటర్న్ ఏంది అని గమనించుకోనీకి. ఇప్పుడు నాకు నారాయణ నీకు అట్లా కలగకపోవచ్చు. నాకు నారాయణ అన్నప్పుడంతా ఏం జరుగుతుందో నాకే తెలీదు లోపల. అట్లా జరిగేటప్పుడు. ఇప్పుడు మళ్ళా వేరే జరుగుతుంటే అప్పుడు అనుభవించిండేది మళ్ళీ వచ్చినారా ఎవరన్నా?
రాలేదు.
లేదు. దీపిక వస్తుందేమో అనుకున్నా. జ్యోతి కూడా. దీపిక, జ్యోతి వస్తారేమో అనుకున్నా.
వస్తారు కానీ ఇప్పుడు దీనికి వస్తారు అనుకుంటా. అడుగుతాను లైక్ ఇఫ్ పీపుల్ ఆర్ నాట్ కమింగ్ ఫర్ ద సజ్జన సాంగత్యం అట్ ఆల్, దెన్ వీ కెన్ జస్ట్ do our we will just meet for the book club and then get it over with. అట్లీస్ట్ 15 minutes లేదులే, 15 minutes అయినా మాట్లాడదాం.
అది పెట్టినాం కదా మనం. పత్రిజీదని సజ్జన సాంగత్యం అనేది పెట్టుకున్నాం కదా.
అవును
కదా.
సజ్జన సాంగత్యం పెట్టుకున్నాము, వేరే దగ్గరలో చేస్తున్నాము అని అందరు రావట్లేదు. బట్ మన సజ్జన సాంగత్యం 15 minutes అయినా కలుద్దాము అని చెప్తాను. ఐ విల్ ఇన్సిస్ట్.
వేరే దగ్గర నేను జ్యోతి కూడా అన్నారు కదా చాలా వేరే చోట బాగా జరుగుతుంది అని. వాళ్ళది అలవాటు అయిపోయి ఉంటుంది కదా, అది ముందు నుంచి జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది మాధవి. మెయిన్ ఈ మధ్య నేను తగ్గించేసినట్టున్నాను మెడిటేషన్. ఓన్లీ వినటం ఎక్కువ, స్వాధ్యాయమే ఎక్కువ. అంటే పని చేసుకుంటూ కూడా వినొచ్చు కదా మనము. దానికోసమే ఇది నాకు వచ్చింది అని నేను బిలీవ్ అవుతాను అనమాట. అంటే మెయిన్ ఈ రేషియో ఉండాలా. అట్ ది సేమ్ టైం ఆ రేషియోని చూస్తుంటే ఏమనిపిస్తుంది, హైయెస్ట్ ఈస్ ధ్యానం అనేది అనిపిస్తుంది కదా మనకు. అన్ని ఉండాలా, బట్ ఎక్కువ అది లేకోకుండా వేరే రెండు చేసి కూడా సత్సంగము ఇది చేసినా కూడా అంత అంటే అది తప్పు ఒప్పు అని కాదు నేను చెప్పేది. ఆ ప్యాటర్న్ లో ఇది ఎక్కువ ఆ రకంగా ఉన్నప్పుడే ఆ బ్లిస్ ఆనందం పొందగలుగుతాము అనేది అర్థమైంది.
See, the reason why you do సజ్జన సాంగత్యం is, ఇప్పుడు నీకు చెప్పిన అనిపించిన ఎక్స్పీరియన్సెస్ నువ్వు నాకు చెప్పావు, నాకు అనిపించిన ఎక్స్పీరియన్సెస్ నీకు చెప్పాను, రైట్? ఇప్పుడు నేనేమన్నాను, రూపము భావము, దట్ ఈస్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద ప్రొఫౌండ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ దట్ ఎవ్రీబడి షుడ్ నో. అంటే లైక్ మన ఎంత దాకా రూపము భావము అనేది మనకు ఆ కాన్సెప్టే లేదు. నాకు ఎక్స్పీరియన్సెస్ ఎందుకు లేవు, నాకు ఇది ఎందుకు లేదు, నాకు అది ఎందుకు లేదు అని చెప్పేదే కానీ. బట్ కానీ ద ఫ్యాక్ట్ దట్ మహర్షి has said రూపము అండ్ భావము, దిస్ ఇస్ లైక్ సంథింగ్ దట్ we all need to know.
అవును.
So these are the things that we exchange when we do Sajjana Sangatyam, and especially when there is something like this is, I mean, whatever the program that we are doing, it is really an amazing thing. Because spending like 6 hours of time in the spirituality, and that too we are keeping track of it, and as Marshi says, you have to be aware of what you are doing.
Yeah.
Right. So this is one of the most important thing that we are doing, and that is what we need to feel, and we need to realize. And talking anytime before meditation, when we start talking, or any of these programs that when we talk, what I've realized is these are all the important conversations that we all need to consciously follow and look. It's ante manamu the importance that we should give is something that this is going to take us to the next level. And whatever the conversation that we get here is very, very important, and this will really help us to grow spiritually. What will, I mean, what was the, I don't know, it's last time when I was reading in Patanjali Maharshi, he says, why do we need Guru? There is everything online, right? So why do we want Guru? Like if you want to go to Isha, or if you want to go to Anapanasati, anything, you have Guru. I mean, you don't need a Guru to learn anything. What he says is, when there is a sportsman, right? Why does he need a coach? He can learn everything from online, but the experiences that they have gone through, they know better than what you are learning for the first time. Yeah. They can guide you that you haven't even seen that path, but they can guide you because they have gone in that path. That is why you need Guru. And if there is some difficulty that comes up, then you know that this is something that the master or the coach has gone through, so he can guide you. This is not how you should go. Yeah. And experienced person kada already Guru. Yeah, experience. That is why you need Guru, because what we are doing in spirituality is, when you close your eyes, there are a lot of things that can happen that you cannot see physically. So when you know that there is some kind of uncertainty, or some kind of thing that you're scared of, or some kind of things that you come across that you haven't even faced. I mean, you haven't even faced until like through eye, you haven't even faced. Okay. So with closing the eyes, you are somewhere that you don't know where you are. That time when you call the Guru, he will come and protect you. Because that is the devotion, that is the surrender, and that is the acceptance that you have given to the Guru. At any cost, he will come and protect you. Yeah. That is why you need the Guru. And Deepika and Prachi, Emma, Sajjan? Enlightenment hour lo cheppinara Sara. Oh, sorry, they have come. Then I need to speak in English. Yeah. No, it's okay. No, I don't think enlightenment hour. It is the Patanjali Maharshi's book. When I was reading, that's what they said. You need to have a Guru. And my sister also shared the experience, like, like when we are somewhere, like you go to astral travel, or when you see something on the astral travel or something, then you're stuck, you don't know what it is. Then you think about your Guru, he will come and save you, he will come and protect you, then he will come and tell you what you need to do. Yeah. Because he has seen all those things. That is why he's called Guru, right? Yeah. Let them share, Madhvi. I'm going on it. So guys, what I'm thinking is, we will do 15 minutes, just not half an hour, 15 minutes Sajjan Sangathyam, and I will post also in the group. Let's talk at least few minutes of what we have done. Let's give importance of what we are doing for 3+2+1. And then whatever we have accomplished, or whatever we have come across, let's keep some time for that. It will be nice. Because this Sajjan Sangathyam that we are having, it is more like the whole program is dependent on this, because the fact that everybody can do on their own time, but the fact that we are all doing it together says that group energies and group sharing is important. So that is what it is. So I will post also in the group about that. And then we will start the book reading. I'll go first. Chapter 3. Yesterday, I began to give you a brief outline of conditions as they exist in the astral plane, and I shall continue with this today. The theory of the great Church of Rome, stated very roughly and briefly, is that after death and hopelessly, wicked drop into an eternal hell immediately. Vessel, the very great saints go at once to heaven. The ordinary man, neither very good nor very bad, needs a long or short stay in an intermediate condition called purgatory, in which his faults are eliminated. As I have told you, there is no such thing as an eternal hell. There could not be. Or if no other reason than that a finite cause can never produce an infinite result. And those who pass to the astral plane with the fear of this in their minds go through a difficult beginning stage. There is little more foundation for the statement about the very great saints, for there is a condition called the heaven world, and it is quite possible that a very great few saints glide rapidly through the intermediate world. The astral and pass directly to the mental world there to continue their evolution. For the very large majority of people, the question of going to either heaven or hell does not arise. Their mode of progress is by passing through two conditions, the lower of which is known as purgatory, and it is with purgatory that I wish to begin today. You have to stop this here. Just give me a few seconds. When you guys, just before you guys came, I started talking to Sailaja about like Bhavamu and Rupamu. And then from there, the talk that I gave, I didn't even plan for it, but it just came from inside. So I feel that this is the message that I got from masters. Like before, when I was talking to Sailaja, I was trying to coordinate my words, my sentences. But now, suddenly, maybe the energy came and then this message has to be given. That is why it came out so strongly about Sajjana Sangathyam that we should do. And that is what it is. I thought I will let you guys know. And this also I had to stop and tell because it told me to tell. The Roman Catholic doctrine, purgatory?
Yeah, it's purgatory.
Okay.
Basically a jail.
Oh, purgatory is jail. Okay.
Yeah, it's where not really jail, but it's more far darkness of a place where you're not connected with the world. It's complete darkness.
Okay.
Somewhere it's
Okay.
like under the earth or somewhere they build it. You're living, but you're not living, something like that. I think that's what it is.
Okay. So that's what he says here, right? In the previous paragraph, purgatory, like if you have done something wrong, then you will be in purgatory and you feel, it's like some of the things are eliminated of what good, bad things that you have done. And there is no eternal hell. The doctrine of purgatory as an intermediate condition in which faults are eliminated by a rather painful process, symbolized by burning in fire, has a great deal of truth in it, but it is entirely deprived of its dignity by the ridiculous theory of indulgences. The suggestion that man can buy himself out of his inconvenient stage without learning the lessons for which the stage exists. There is, of course, no possibility of such a thing. No number of thousands of pounds could make the slightest difference to what happens to the man after death. Money may help him to circumvent the loss of the physical plane during his lifetime, but after he has left his world, money has lost its value, and such expenditure by friends and relations remaining in the world, so far as he personally is concerned, is wasted. It has always seemed to be a ridiculous thing to suggest that money can divert a law of nature. You can divert the law of gravity by offering it money, nor can you turn aside the law of divine justice by bribing it with candles, prayer, and offerings. After this page, anybody can take over. The purgatory, as it is called, not at all inaptly, because it is a state of consciousness where a great deal of refinement and improvement takes place. It is the lower planes of the astral world, that part into which man passed almost immediately after death. It is the reason where a man is purged of the blinding lower desires, which would keep him indefinitely bound to his desire body. Evolution requires that he move on to higher regions. In order that he may do this, he passes through spheres where he is made to suffer in the same way that he has made other people suffer in his physical life, through dishonesty, cruelty, and so on. Through time and suffering, he learns the importance of honesty, justice, tolerance, etc. And having accomplished this, moves on. In his next incarnation, he will be born free from sin, although the tendency of tendency to succumb. Do you guys know the meaning of this? To the same desires is still
సక్కం కదా నాకు తెలియదు
SUCCUMB.
అది నాకు గుర్తు తెలియడం లేదు నాకు అర్థం.
You can look into it and then tell me when it is ready. Tendency
means
to
fail to resist pressure. Fail to resist pressure. That means temptation or some other negative forces.
Okay.
Where I was just looking up actually. He has become the latest to succumb to the strain. So where he is resisting the temptation, fail to resist the pressure. Wherever the pressure is given, you cannot resist that pressure.
Yeah, like if there is a person who lies all the time, maybe that same desire is still there for him. So I mean, it's like it's not going out.
Yeah, right? To submit an overpowering force. Or to yield to an overpowering desire.
Yeah. So although the tendency to succumb to the same desire is still there, and every evil act he commit in that life will be one of free will. A man will continue in his way until he has learned by bitter purgative experiences that he must practice tolerance and do good to others regardless of how he is treated in return. Certain eternal laws have been established, and we must try to understand them as such. If there were no laws of nature, we should soon be a chaotic condition with nothing on which we could depend. But there are laws of nature, and these laws are expression of divine will. Do you want to read, Prachi?
Yeah. Is it from I shall, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I shall try to explain. Before I say this, the purgatory basically. So in the human world, I said it's a dark cell where no light can enter. Nothing has been given to a person. But in the sense, more higher forms, in the death forms, it's basically a place after the death where a soul has to go into purifying themselves. Still, they have to learn to purify. So after the death, it doesn't go to heaven or hell. It goes to purgatory, where he has to still learn the lessons and get purified. So that's what in Christianity they believe in all this. So I was reading it, and this is what it means. I shall try to explain what happens in purgatory by giving you some examples. The examples which is always given first, because it is the most easily comprehended, is the case of a man who has yielded in excess to the curse of drink, the drunkard. We all of us know what this drink curse can be. We know of so many cases where a man has wrecked his life, starved his wife and children, and even committed crimes innumerable, simply and solely to gratify his craving for the sensation that drink produces. If a man drank only to quench his thirst, then he would have no desire for drink after death. For thirst, like hunger, is unknown in the astral world, but the origin of the desire is not thirst. So what it's say, do you mind scrolling down a little bit, Amadvi, where I started? I'm just trying to understand also while I'm reading this. So it's saying if a man is, if his soul thing, if his desire is to quench his thirst, then he would have no desire for drink after that. But if it's more than that, he's committing crimes by either starving his wife and children or wrecking his life. Just because he want that taste of the drink to keep going, the craving of the drink, the craving of the drink that it produces. But if a man drank only to quench his thirst, then he would have no desire for drink after death. For thirst, like hunger, is unknown in the astral world, but the origin of the desire is not thirst. Okay. It is craving for a certain pleasurable sensation. After death, the same craving which drove him in his lifetime to such terrible length will be stronger than ever. But now that he has lost his physical body, there will be no possibility of satisfying it. Desire does not belong to physical body only, or even principally. It belongs to and is one of the functions of desire vehicle. The other name of the astral plane are the desire plane and the emotional plane. In its plane, desires and emotion are undiluted. So it's not diluted, they're undiluted. The full force of a desire now tears at a man who, in his physical body, has only felt about 100 part of the strength of real desire. No one can deny that this is suffering, but also no one can say that the man is being punished. All that has happened is that the law of cause and effect has come into operation, and he is now reaping as he sowed. He is now feeling the result of his action during his lifetime, but he is not being punished. He has set up in himself a desire, and so he suffers. The time during which the suffering lasts may well seem to him an eternity, though in reality it may be only a few days, a few weeks, or a few months. To a certain very limited extent, he can gratify his desire in imagination. He can take the forms of drink and imagine he is drinking. He can even imagine the taste of the liquid, but he cannot produce the result, the sensation for which he drank during his lifetime. The nearest that he can get to his sensation is to go to places where people are drinking and suck up, as it were, the fumes of alcohol, which gives him a very limited amount of satisfaction. He does not get much, but it is something that the best that he can get now that his physical body is no more. So basically, this paragraph is saying that even in the astral plane, once you leave the body, so if you scroll just one line up, Madhvi, it says desire. That line was very nice, where it says desire was not. It's not the thirst that was a desire. It is the craving of a certain pleasurable sensation, and that will continue even after death. I mean, this is good. I always thought that the desire ends, once the death is, once we have a death. But it says the desire doesn't die even after the body, and that's when the astral plane is the another name of astral plane is a desire plane or emotional plane, where the emotions are not diluted. The full force of desire now tears the man. So even at a physical body, now that because they are in astral plane, they don't have a physical body, so they can now imagine, doing the same thing, the desire that they have. And it is also saying that as when he had a physical body, when a man has a physical body, and whatever he was doing, that was only like 100th part of the strength of real desire. So the actual desire will come after the if I understood it correct, the actual desire will come now after the man is no more with the physical body. So what he was suffering during his physical body, during his life, was only the 100 part of what the actual desire is. And whatever was happening down there in the physical world is happening because of laws of cause and effect. Whatever he was reaping will now will he sow. This is what I understood. You have to read couple more times to really get it, what exact meaning it is, but I can continue reading.
I think in the previous chapter, he mentioned about if you have a desire of music or art or anything that that is relating to these things, creativity, they will go and finish their desires in the astral plane.
Okay.
So, it's anything that is, that is what they have said in the last chapter.
Okay.
So you have to, when you're before dying, you should have something in mind that is something that you want to learn. If it is a sport, whatever you think, it will happen then and there. And especially when it comes to sports, like if you want to, if there is any particular game that you want to play, then you go and kick the ball. It will happen. So there is no challenge as such. Like here, there are some other people come and then they obstruct you, and then there are a lot of challenges. But in the astral plane, everything happens. Whatever you think, when you think that this is what you want, it will happen. So there is no doubt of not happening.
Okay, that's why he's saying. But the effect of that, what do you call that? Jo thirst hoti hai, the effect of that is very less as compared to in the physical world.
So now he's talking about the desires. Before, it's like wanting to do what you want to learn or something like that. In the previous chapter, he talked about now, like the korika, right? The desires. The desires, if you want to do something I don't know, maybe it's a bad thing or good thing, but whatever the desire it is, if it is not done, I'm also reading for the first time. So
right.
If it is not done, then it will happen in the astral plane.
It will happen
it can be a bad thing or good thing.
And I think, isn't that become a purgatory also? Because then again, we have to read more, but purgatory is basically where you still have to purify yourself. You have to to go to the heaven or hell, probably you have to clean yourself and purify yourself. So desire is still one of the things where you need to leave the desire, and then you raise up to a higher realm. So maybe it's the whole thing. I think
the purgatory that he's talking about is when you do a bad thing. So you have to have the you have to siksha, what do you call, you have to go through that process of clearing, right? And then for the desire is something like, suppose say maybe desire can be a good thing or bad thing.
True, yeah. But still, as per Patanjali, or as per anything what I have read, desire is something that you should not have.
Yes,
this is what you have to overcome your desire. So I guess let's see. We'll read more and then.
Yeah, maybe by end of the chapter we'll getting the answer.
Okay. So
Deepika,
here
you're quiet today, Deepika.
Hello. I'm just listening.
Deepika, after my 2 paragraph, you're reading.
Yeah, sure.
I will read. Actually, I may go.
Okay.
I'll read and then Deepika will take.
Yeah, sure.
Then again, I'll be there only, but.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So here we have the case of a man who, if he related his experience, would certainly say that he was thrown into hell indeed. Not eternal, of course, but quite long enough and sufficiently painful whilst it lasted, to make him think of that period as an eternity. The trouble is that no one can really help such a man, that is to say, in the sense of preventing this experience from happening. The only thing that can be done is to explain carefully to him what is happening and the reason for it all, and tell him that the only way out is to get rid of desire. Yeah. For until it has worked itself out or been got rid of, the suffering must continue. Sooner or later, he realized this, and so that the stage of his purgatory ends. And I think this is where what he's saying, that if you have a desire, you still stay in the purgatory to cleanse yourself. And if a man is in that state, and if he keeps thinking that wherever I am right now, I am suffering, so this will be until the eternity. Okay, he won't ever come out of it, and he will think this is very long. But the moment if there is somebody who will actually explain him very carefully, that this can end, and you can get rid of desire, and this will end. So if he thinks or if somebody explain him this way, the stage of this purgatory ends.
Yeah, so as you mentioned earlier, Prachi, any desire is a bad thing.
Any desire is basically, you should just get rid of a desire.
Yeah.
Chahe kuch bhi ho, achhi ho ya
Not
buri
bad thing, but get rid of it.
Nowadays, what I have listened, that people desire for the experience in spirituality. So that is even though they want to experience, they want to reach higher, but still it's a desire. It should come automatically. You should not desire for it.
Yes.
Okay.
Because one thing leads to the other. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Prachi. Next, take the case of a miser who hoards his gold on earth and secretes it so that he alone knows where it may be found. Think of the pleasure he derived while living from visiting the venue of his hoard and gathering up the gold pieces or notes, letting them slip from his fingers one by one to fall again on the heap which he has made. Picture his crying out in his joy, all mine, and no one shall touch it but me. Then think what such a man's feeling would be when he saw from the astral level the hoard discovered and probably spent recklessly by those who were fortunate enough to find it. He could do nothing, although doubtless he did hang round the hiding place for a considerable time after death. He may have tried to influence the searchers to go elsewhere. No doubt he did all in his power to put them off the scent, but he would know no method of communicating with them except when they were asleep and temporarily at his level. In most cases, they would remember nothing of such conversations and so be uninfluenced by his efforts. Once again, no one is punishing that man. Nevertheless, he is suffering from the uncontrolled emotions of what is this? Covetousness and greed. He must get away from purely physical things if he is to find happiness. And he will punish himself. Nobody is going to do anything. Anekada. What do you would say, Madhavi? Because of his whatever he did.
So it's basically saying that whatever he is doing right now, like when he attained the gold, right? When he was in physical body, he had the gold with him. He had he loved that feeling of having a gold, but now that he is dead, he cannot do anything. He cannot whoever will find it, whoever will find the gold, all he can do is he can just hover around that place. Nobody should find it. And if somebody is also coming close to it, what he can do is he can probably tell them to go somewhere else. No, it's not there. But the problem is now he cannot even communicate. So what it's saying is, because of all this limitation, he himself is in that greed. He's in that emotions. Yeah. This is an uncontrolled emotion, and he's suffering from that. Although he's in astral.
Yeah, nobody else should punish him. He himself is suffering.
He himself is punishing himself by still having that desire.
Yeah. Another very common case is that of the extremely jealous man who thinks he is in love with someone, while in reality all he wants is to possess that individual body and soul for his own personal gratification. Surely a man who really loved would be thankful to see the object of his love receive admiration and attention from others, but the jealous man is not. Having been jealous during his lifetime, he remains jealous after death, torturing himself indefinitely and uselessly by constantly watching the approaches of others to the object of his supposed love, hating those other people and trying in every way to influence them, but finding his efforts useless. No one is punishing such people for being jealous. They are simply reaping the results of their own foolishness through the uncontrollable operation of the law of karma or the law of cause and effect. The only way that anyone can help them is by the intellectual method of giving them advice
trying to show that how foolishly they are acting, and by explaining to them that all that is required for them to obtain peace is that they should eliminate the selfishness from their love and should realize that no one can own another's ego, body, and soul, however much he may wish to do so. One other example, and then I am finished with the purgatory. I don't know how to pronounce this. Purgatory? Okay, let us see afterwards. A businessman once ruined one of his competitors, and when criticized by some of his friends, said that harsh treatment was good in business, that he had learned the hard way, and that the lesson would not be wasted on his competitor in the long run. Sure enough, after some years had elapsed, the broken man did rise again. In fact, he became a much more successful man than the one who had ruined him in his early life. The ruthless man often quoted this as proof of how right he had been. The ruthless treatment of a competitor was in reality a blessing in disguise. He thought no more about the incident during his lifetime. Should I go, or someone? Shall I read another page and go? What, Madhavi?
Mr. Madam, if
Yeah,
you want
you
to
can read
ask.
another page and go. And
Because he may come for lunch, that's why afterwards I can
Yeah.
hear, but I cannot read.
Sure.
How different it all appeared when the whole story was shown to him in what is called purgatory. There he saw the little man, after he was ruined, return to his home, where he told his wife of his misfortune. It was also shown how this man's son, who was starting his career at the university, had to give up the career and take the first job offered to him, that of a humble clerk. The father started again, and I have said in due time became a rich man, but that was too late to help the son. What of him? He was bitter at the trick fate had played on him. So instead of settling down in his new sphere of activity and making the best of it, he became mixed up with bad companions, tried to make money quickly by dishonest means, and finally landed in prison, which broke his mother's heart and caused her death. The whole story, now seen in its full perspective, is a major tragedy, and you can easily imagine the suffering of that ruthless businessman when he realized that the result of his greed, so thoughtless at the time, caused not only the temporary ruin of a small competitor, but also the death of one woman and the ruin of a young man's career. On the other side, we see the full and complete results of all our actions. Few of us do not suffer in the seeing and register a woe that in future we shall act differently. The change, I think I need to go, Madhuri. Okay?
Okay, ma.
Thank you, Ma. I'll come again.
Deepika, do you want to continue?
Yeah, the change in outlook towards such things is what purgatory is meant to produce. And once our outlook is changed, our experiences in purgatory are at an end. By learning these lessons thoroughly, we can ensure that after future lives, our passing through the lower part of the astral world will be little delayed by experiences similar to those I have related. We have to learn a lesson once only, and if our characters change thereby, we avoid much trouble and temporary misery in the future. Just as the astral experiences of the average man and the man below average standard are in accordance with the types of lives they have lived on earth, so those of the intellectual man, the man above the average, are also in accordance with his mode of living. Such men pass more quickly through the lower to the higher levels of the astral world, where they are not only able to continue any experimental work in which they were interested, but can gather students with similar tastes around them. Such gatherings are to be seen frequently. The scientist with his group of students, the mathematician with his smaller group, both find the astral world a much more suitable plane in which to work than the physical world. For four-dimensional space can now be studied with opportunities of experimenting. The artist has his group of pupils trying to imitate his skill, as also does the musician, and now the latter is happy indeed, for he has the opportunity of listening not only to the world's music, but to the music of nature, from that of the sea and the wind to the music of the spheres. For there is a music of the spheres There is an ordered song as the planets move through their mighty curves in space. There is music and color connected with all the vast cosmic world, but as yet we understand the glory of the cosmic life as little as the crawling ant understands our life with its many activities. A musician may meet the great angels of music, for there are the angels who live for music, who express themselves in and by music, to whom music is what speech is to us. You will hear more about their activities later.
So here,
here-
what is he talking about?
Yeah,
he
that's
talked
what-
about purgatory, and after that,
Yeah, so that's what he's saying. It is for the people who are, average or below average people in the physical plane. They will go through that purgatory thing in the astral plane. That is what he's saying. So that is for them. But people with a little more above average people who are in the physical plane, when they go to astral plane, what will be their experiences? He's explaining.
okay.
So because they are more intelligent, they can continue their work, whatever they were doing here. It will continue after going to the astral plane. For example, he's giving a mathematician, he will get his students around him. Same thing. If he was a teacher here in the physical plane, in the astral plane also, he get the teachers, students around him. And the experimental work will continue even there. So similarly, for artists like musicians, he's talking about. So they will get even the angels of music, it seems. So you will get more exposure in music and such other arts and everything he's saying. So angels will express more. Their music will be like how speech is for us. That's what he's saying. So we'll read more about these kinds of experiences.
So learning music and then having a desire to learn more
so
music
always,
is a good thing. It's an intellectual thing.
Yeah, they're all considered little better off and greater things. Yeah, that's what.
I
And
think
then
this is where he is dividing the good and the bad desire, which you were talking about before, Madhvi. The bad desire is like, bothering a soul or
greed,
jealousy and greed and all those things.
all those lower emotions, greed, jealousy, anger, all those things. They will,
and all these
even
other
in the
desire
astral
is
plane,
to build your own self. That is where it becomes above average people.
Interesting.
So
I think this he talked about in the
desire
second
for the
chapter too.
material things, it is considered lower, and then desire for something bigger than the material things, then that is considered above average. And he's comparing this astral plane experiences. For us, it is like an ant has so many things to do, right? Always it is busy with its collecting the food. So like how he doesn't know about the other things other than his regular activities, for us the astral world is so unknown. He's saying, he's just giving a comparison here. Okay. So we'll come to know about. So he's saying he'll explain more about that. For the spiritually minded man, the man who has meditated deeply. So here he's saying the people about the spiritual path.
About us.
Yeah. The man who has meditated deeply on higher things, there awaits an infinity of bliss. During his lifetime, he has had to rely on faith and his own reasoning powers. Now he can prove the truth of many of the theories which he has studied in the world, and one can but faintly imagine the joy and peace that this knowledge will bring to such a man. He has been struggling in darkness, and now, to a certain extent, he has found the light. So here, though it seems to be very dark and we don't know the subject, but there he's saying we'll find the light for that, whatever darkness we find. The philanthropist who during his lifetime has had one thought, one object in view, the helping of his fellow men, has perhaps the greatest opportunity of all. For now, he is free to devote the whole of his time to helping and comforting those who require his services. If he takes up this special work of helping those who have just passed over, he will find work for every minute of his astral life. During wartime, the need for his work is great, for the ignorant are many and the helpers are few. Much good karma is then earned by those who have fitted themselves for such work and who seize this golden opportunity. Therefore, I say to you, seek knowledge, not that you may help yourself alone, but that by this knowledge you may be able to assist your brother in distress, also that you may take your share in this great scheme of evolution and be, what every thinking man should be, a guide and a helper to the ignorant. So it is very simple. So today brings me to one of the most pleasant parts of my description of the astral world, for I must now talk about children. And after all, do not children really make a world? It is only necessary to spend Christmas with a family that is without children to realize what a difference their happy voices and romping games make to this greatest of all festivals. Nothing seems the same. The house appears to be dead and the world empty of true happiness. Children's laughter is the most wonderful thing in the world, the one thing most missed by those who have worshipped at its shrine in the past. When they find that the time is gone by and that the revelers of the nursery have been submerged into the huge cauldron of adult humanity. It is as if children are the only really natural beings in the human world, the only people who understand enjoyment. The explanation of this lies in the fact that, having so recently returned to earth, they are as yet so near to the truly glorious life of the heaven world that they still retain some touch with life at its highest. Life that is one with the nature kingdom, the land of fairies, the land of beauties, untold and undreamed of by the material beings, we all seem to become when we grow up and are tarred with the brush of convention and respectability. A condition analogous to this is to be seen in the animal kingdom. Even lion cubs are delightful as babies when they are born. They have no fear, for they have just come from the astral world where fear does not exist for them. After some months or even a year or so, their instinct, which is part of the group soul to which they belong, filters through. Then fear and antagonism for the human race comes into force, and no longer can they be considered as safe pets. It is usually considered that nothing is quite so sad as for a child to be cut off at any stage of its career, but especially at the time when it is emerging from babyhood into what is described as the interesting stage at about 3 years old. The period when a child ceases to be a child is not determined by age. Some lose their childish ways as soon as they enter school. Others remain children till well into their teens. The death of a child must always seem unnecessary to those who have not grasped at least the elementary theory of evolution. For it is very natural that they should wonder why parents have to suffer in this way, and what the use is of a life which ends so soon after it has begun. Students of evolution, however, realize that a child is an individual who has descended to this physical plane to obtain experience, to work out its destiny. If it dies young, it gains little experience and it will not take long to assimilate this after leaving the physical world. Thus, it is more likely that the child who has died young will be the sooner back to live another life. It does not follow that it would lose anything or suffer in any way from this early death. If the average person would only take the little trouble necessary to gain this knowledge, how much happier the world would be.
So he talks about the young child dying, kada?
Yes, yeah.
And
children, yeah, he's saying he's going to talk about after 3 years, like till 3 years for some kids, they'll have that because they are in touch with the astral, they'll enjoy. That's what he's saying. It depends. For some children till the elementary, for some kids it'll be till the teen. But once when they die, people with who have that spiritual knowledge or that evolutionary who have that knowledge of evolution, so they will take it easily that okay, he came for that little experience and then he is going to come back sooner for another life.
Okay.
And then so continuing, when a baby is about to pass to the next world, the ceremony of baptism should always be performed. This rite makes the child a member of a holy brotherhood, surrounds it with a certain definite protection, and starts it along a certain line of vibrations and influences which prevent harm from coming near it. When children reach the astral world, they have a wonderfully happy life because of the absence of restrictions. They never lack attention For there are always members of mothers that have passed over who are willing and eager to care for a child that has died when a baby. They have the same maternal feelings when living at the astral level as they had when living in the physical world. Poverty, lack of food, suffering from cold, such things have no place in the thoughts of the astral mother. Sleep is no longer a necessity, so there is plenty of time to give to any child she adopts. Apart from the pleasure of seeing that it is cared for and amused, she can commence the child's education, introducing it to the beauties of this world in their many forms. Such teaching may leave its mark on the child and may cause it to turn to the artistic side of life in its next incarnation. As well as foster mothers who are always available, there is a vast army of astral helpers also ready to pilot a newcomer through the early stages of his new life. Like the adult, the child is unchanged by passing to this new world. There are always many who are only too anxious to help him at his games, and there are also the nature spirits who play a great part in children's games and the astral plane. Think of the imaginative child surrounding himself, still in imagination, with the wonders of the kingdoms described in his fairy books. In this astral world, the child will not have to rely on make believe. Once a thing is imagined, it is there. It is there plain for him to see. For the matter of the astral world is molded by thought, and just as long as the child imagines a thing, so will the thing be there. Instead of sitting in an old washtub with a pair of walking sticks for oars, the child who wants to row on the boat river has only to think of the river, only to imagine the boat and the oars, and they are there for his use. The child who loves to imitate the heroes of fiction has only to think strongly of himself as the hero, and he immediately becomes his idea of what that character should be. The plastic astral body is molded into that very shape, and so for the time being, the child absolutely becomes what he is trying to imagine. He becomes Hermes with the winged shoes, or Jason in charge of the Argo, or Robin Hood, the hero of Sherwood Forest. Whatever he thinks of, he becomes. And when he gets tired of that impersonation, he has only to think of someone else, and the plastic astral body obeys his commands. It is a wonderful education for a child. This living amongst the characters of his imagination, since he learns much by this method that would be impossible under physical plane conditions. You want me to continue?
I think she's on a phone call or something.
Okay.
We can stop here and discuss a little bit if you want. Well, or we can wait for her until she's done.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, guys, I had to take this. Did we finish the chapter?
No, not yet. 4 more pages to go.
How was it 4 more pages? Okay.
We can finish, right? I mean, or at least we can do until 11:30. That's what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We all know
Or if
the
you guys
child.
want to discuss about this, we can do it. If not, we can just.
It's easy only. We understood, right? Like
Yeah.
how the child can imagine, and that's what he's saying, that everything can be, whatever he imagines, that is there in the astral plane. Everything is there, and that works better in astral plane than
for
in
the child who has died.
died
child.
early. Yeah, young
Okay.
child. Yeah.
Okay.
We all know the child who is continually asking questions. How often have we found ourselves up against a stumbling block because it is impossible to give an answer that may be understood by the listener who has only a child's undeveloped brain and elementary intellect? Sometimes,
sorry to break you, Deepika. Ekkada, what is the page number?
36 page lo last actually, 35 lo last.
35 the last. Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
We all, okay. Sometimes we even go so far as to scold the child and try to discourage him from questioning. We do not want to hinder his progress. We just feel that now and again our answers are so inadequate that it would be better for the question to remain unanswered rather than to give a wrong impression. When the astral plane conditions can be made use of, all that is changed. He can be shown the answer to his question by making an image to float before his eyes. A living model for it is living so long as our thought is concentrated upon is a great improvement on a worldly discourse. It may be asked, do the children not miss their fathers and mothers, friends and playmates? No, they do not. And for this reason, everyone when asleep spends these hours in the same world as the child who is dead. The fathers and mothers who mourn because they think they have lost a child find that the same child is visible to them again the moment they sleep and are out of their physical bodies. They are able to talk to the child and he to them, to play with them, to continue his education and so on. They are able practically to carry on from where they left off on earth. But the pity of it is that these self-same parents remember nothing about this when they wake up in the morning. The child after death is invisible to the average parent, to all who have not developed clairvoyance, whereas the parents are never invisible to the child. He can always see them, the astral counterparts of their physical bodies, and often when parents are mourning over the death of a child, the one who is dead is standing by their side, trying in every possible way to communicate with them. To the child, the parents seem to be very dull and stupid at such times, for the child cannot realize that although he can see them, they cannot see him. So
Very
strange, Kara.
interesting.
So
Very
strange, yeah. An oft repeated question is, do children grow when they are living in the astral world? This question is always difficult to answer because if the child is asked, it usually answers, yes, I have grown quite a lot. As I have told you, the astral body does not grow after death. For though the child develops mentally and learns more, the body actually remains as it was when the child died. Growth is only necessary at the physical level. After a person is born, the body grows gradually until it attains full stature, unless the subject dies, when physical growth automatically ceases. As there is now no physical body to which the astral body need adapt itself, it ceases to grow. When the child says it has grown, it means the child thinks it has grown. The plastic astral body immediately responds to that thought and for a time is bigger. But as soon as the thought is dropped, the body returns to its actual or usual size. Oh my God, thought is so powerful in astral plane.
Yeah, actually, through thought only, everything happens in astral plane. Like a thought of eating food, it will come. Thought of doing anything,
Yeah.
it will come. Kada?
Yeah, that's what I say.
That's why thought for us also thought is so important. What we think is what we become. So
so maybe that's why here also that is stressed upon. Yeah. There is nothing mysterious about this. It is only the working of the laws of nature, and higher matter responds to those laws as well as the lower variety. Do you want to take it up, Prachi or Madhvi? Or you want me to continue?
Madhvi, you can go ahead. I have to serve food to the kids. So I'm listening.
Sure, I will read it. I once saw a most interesting example of how this works for different people. In a case where a man and his wife died together in a motor accident, 10 years previous to that date, they had lost a young daughter aged 5. The man who had died occultism expected to see his daughter looking just the same as when she was alive. So greeted her by picking her up in his arms in the same way as he used to do when he came home from his office. The wife, however, not having studied these matters in any way, naturally added up the years that had passed since the child died and expected to see a girl of 15 years of age waiting to greet her on the other side. She was not disappointed. She saw the tall girl with the attractive face and eyes, and she had so often imagined her daughter would grow into, and exclaimed as she greeted her, "Haven't you grown? Why you are really nearly a woman now?" The husband, knowing some things of a peculiarities of the astral plastic matter, was not at all surprised and did not spoil her pleasure by explaining to his wife that what she was really seeing was a thought form made by herself, within which was housed the ego of their daughter, whom they did not see except during sleep for the past 10 years. This example shows that although it is the fact that people do not grow in size on the astral plane, yet to those who cannot subscribe to this fact or find it difficult to understand, their illustrations prove quite satisfactory and no one is harmed by them. So, here, what he's telling is a person, the couple who has died, and
No,
then,
couple's daughter.
yeah, couples also died in the
Couples
accident.
died. No. Couple also died.
Yeah, died
Oh,
together in
man
a
and his
motor
wife died.
accident, but
Okay.
10 years before this accident, the daughter has
Mhm.
died.
Okay.
And after that, I don't know, I didn't get it. Like too much of
Expected
in
his
and out.
daughter looking just the same. So when they died, they were thinking like their daughter should have grown up because 10 years ago she died, right? So they were thinking she should have grown up by now. So the wife imagines that, okay, you're already a woman now, like that. She was expecting, but they don't know that in the astral plane, at whatever age she died, that will be the same age, right? In the astral plane, she wouldn't have grown. But these people
Okay.
expect.
So essentially, the parents and the daughter, they met in astral plane, and that is what the conversation is happening here.
Yes.
Okay.
In the astral plane, how do we expect, but that doesn't happen there. That's what he's saying. For the past 10 years, see, ego of their daughter, whom they had not seen except during sleep for the past 10 years.
Okay.
This example shows that although it is a fact that people do not grow in size, yet to those who cannot subscribe to this fact or find it difficult to understand, their illusions prove quite satisfactory and no one is harmed by them. So in the illusion, like when 10 years during their life here in the physical plane, when they were alive, so in the sleep they used to visit her and they used to meet her every day. So for them, she was not. So they were thinking it is the same daughter they were expecting, but it is not so. Husband knowing something.
A flashback and real story.
But here, what they are saying is this: see, a husband has studied the occultism. So he knew, because they're saying the husband knowing something of the peculiarities of the astral plastic matter was not at all surprised and did not spoil her pleasure by explaining to his wife, because wife doesn't know, she was asking about her. But what he's saying is people who study occultism, they knew that the astral body doesn't grow, and he knew. But here only the wife was surprised. That's what he's saying.
Okay. Before finishing my remarks on the life of a child in the astral level, let me give you one example to show how the early death of a child can and usually does benefit that child considerably. Two people who were married but in poor circumstances longed for a child. In due time, a son was born to them who lived for just 2 years. The parents were frantic with grief at this loss, and no one seemed to be able to console them. Life, which before had seemed to be nearly perfect, was now empty and desolate, and the atmosphere of their home was depressing in the extreme. In time, they felt the loss less keenly, but the wound was still there, and each made it worse for the other by treating the subject as a closed one, never to be mentioned, which only meant that they both brooded all the more. Huh? Brooded all the more
in their inner hearts.
All the more in their inner hearts. The one thing they had both loved, the child whose future they had planned and had been taken from them, and great was their grief. Great their feeling of frustration that they should be treated thus by a creator who was said to be beneficent. ఇంకా ఎంత ఉందమ్మా?
నేను వచ్చాను మాధవి.
2 more pages.
Maybe we'll stop here after this.
Okay.
Where is it? A beneficent. Yeah, I think we'll stop here at 37.
Yeah.
Or
Time
should I finish that
It
story?
is anyway a lot to be taken with different examples that they have given. It's amazing that how he started with a drunk example, and then the good desire, and then with this astral travel, different example.
Yeah.
Yeah, this story, let us finish this. Otherwise, it will be
Okay.
again. We need to go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
This sorrow acted in different ways on the two people. While the woman carried on her household duties and prayed that one day she might conceive another child, the man threw himself wholeheartedly into his business, feeling quite rightly that hard work would take his mind off from great sorrows. 5 years after the death of the first child, the woman produced another son, and their joy was complete. As it happened, the new son was the same ego who had been taken from them 5 years ago. Through the hard work which the sorrowing father had put into his business, the material resources of the family were now flourishing. So when the time came for the second child to be educated, the man was in a position to give him a first education. 5 years earlier, the money would have not been available for this. The net result of this
Useless death.
The net result of this seemingly useless death was that, firstly, the husband and wife paid off quite a number of units of karma through their suffering. And secondly, the child who had earned the right to be given a good education by actions of his previous life had to be withdrawn from the first body, kept waiting 5 years for the second body, and then reborn to the same family. The child ego did not suffer at all by these circumstances. He gained much by opportunities available to him for his second body. Being born a few years later is nothing in the scheme of evolution, but often a few years make all the difference to the conditions ruling in a particular family on the physical plane, which can have a far-reaching effects on egos born into such environment. Okay. Interesting.
Very interesting.
To sum up, generally, it is necessary for a man to return to the home of the ego, which is the higher mental level, only if he has lived a life in the physical world of an average length of time. To get there, he must pass through the astral world, live his life there, then drop his astral body in his mental body, consolidate at the mental level all the mental experiences and intellectual efforts that took place in his last life. This being done, his mental body is also dropped, and he does not get new mental and astral vehicles until the time comes for him to incarnate again. I mention this now so that you may realize that a short life on the physical plane often means that the child, having little or no experience to consolidate after such a short physical existence, return to the astral plane only for a few years and is then given a new physical body, retaining the same astral and mental bodies which it had drawn around itself prior to the recent short life on the physical plane. Okay, too much to grasp. Maybe we need to, we understood most of it, but it's just like, I think if we read it one more time, it will reinforce 38. Remember, guys, until 38 we finished.
Okay, before the chapter 4, I think, two pages before chapter 4. Yeah.
Yeah. This is 39.
Okay.
Okay, so we did good, and then looks like a lot of flashback. In the movies, they say flashback and live alarm to astral plane, and then the life that they're talking about. So I think it's little bit of.
So how we are here in physical pain and how that affects in astral pain, all the different experiences he's sharing.
But Kali, when they said that the child will not grow, right? I mean, what we believe in is it's a soul. The soul is more like it doesn't, I don't know. Maybe we
No,
haven't seen
that's
it.
what
So,
soul doesn't has any form. So in the physical astral plane, it is like whatever the size, like for their eyes, it will be seen as however the child was here, it will be same in the astral plane for them. If they visit in the sleep and all, they're saying it will be visible in the same form. But after they also leave the body and go there, so that lady will have the same mentality, right? Okay, by now my child would have grown. So when she met her in the astral plane, she was thinking, you should have grown by now. Already 10 years ago you left. How come you're still there? So same mentality what we have in the physical plane, we continue there. She had that mental this one, but the husband knew that occult studies, and he knew that astral plane soul doesn't grow or the astral body doesn't grow. So he knew. He
see,
just wants to differentiate that.
I understood what they said, but in level 1 and level 2 course that we did, what they said was it's a soul, right? I mean, it is just a soul, and then it doesn't have anything like
form.
I mean, like you're a small baby or you're a big baby. It is just the experience that they have. But one thing that they have mentioned is whatever shape of the body form that we want, we can take it. Maybe that is what they're saying. Maybe like
it is only life. For our easy understanding, I guess. Author is giving us that the bodies will be there, all those things. But I don't think like it is
because the soul is this. Because I mean, like it depends on how many number of births that you have taken. But I don't know. Let's listen and then accept what he says and then move on rather than trying to analyze. I guess that's what we should do.
When we read through only, we'll understand more.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Good.
So tomorrow, what is that then? Patanjali is there, or this class will be there? How to do that tomorrow? I might not be able to join tomorrow. We have an hospital visit, so I'm not sure.
Can you send your recording, please?
Recording for the sutra. Okay. But tomorrow you said that revision of those sutras are there. No, Ravali and you both of you have to give that revision.
That we will do it in the end. So that is optional.
I think that only last time only for 2 sutras, like 2 people explained the summary. By then only the entire class was done, right? So I was thinking.
No. What we are doing is like the sutras are. I mean, the revision will be optional because
revision is optional.
But the sutras we will follow. Whatever the sutras that are there, we will do that first, and then if there is time, then we will do the revision. Revision is just like for us to reinforce over and over again, so that way we will remember. So that's what
I was thinking. First, the revision will finish it off till 39, and then continue with the sutras.
But I think if we do it the other way around, we will also finish our 51 sutras this month. The first chapter. If we do the sutras regularly and then revision, keep it as an optional or whatever the time is. That would help because we only have little bit few sutras left. Only 6 left to complete the first chapter. Right, Madhvi?
Yeah, 50, right. Yeah, and then we can do the revision.
And then we can do the revision for all the other classes.
Yeah, all the things once when it is done.
Okay. So only voice recording will do, or you want the video recording? Madhvi?
Voice recording will do. That's it. Video recording is even better if you can do that.
But that's what WhatsApp only should I send it?
Sorry, WhatsApp chale. WhatsApp, yeah, that should be good. Voice recording is good.
So you will be able to play in the system.
Yeah, send it to me or or Prachi. Then we will play it. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
At what time, Madhvi? Tomorrow.
Good question. So what I'm thinking, ours was 11 Central. It was right.
Yeah. 11 Central, 12 for us.
My God, I'm getting so confused with these timings. This is starting at 11:30. Ours is the 3-1 is starting at 11:30. Isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Anyway, we have postponed today half an hour, right? Because we want to keep Sangathyam for only half an hour.
So what we can do is this one we can finish it off earlier. After that, the Patanjali can be continued. This maybe we can log in.
Hey Madhvi, I was thinking this is more like explaining the sutras is more like Sajjan Sangathyam, right? That can be taken as Sajjan Sangatya, and whatever time is left for 1:30, we can finish the reading, the book.
Yeah, I think that's what we thought, right, Prachik? Yeah, good thing you reminded. Yeah. So, but do we have to start like half an hour early so that way we will be done?
I mean, if everybody agrees, we can start. We can start at 11:30. If everybody is okay with the time, we can put it in the group, in the Patanjali group, asking if everybody can join at 11:30. So we can do that. But anyway, you put it in the group saying it will start at 12, right?
Are you
Was it
talking?
12 Eastern Standard Time, right?
Was it 12 Eastern?
Yeah, 12 Eastern it
Yeah.
used to be.
Yes.
Patanjali used to be
That's
12
the
Eastern.
7 Patanjali time that you have. So the timings are not changed because today you changed the timing. So as per the today's time change, we are back to our Patanjali time.
Okay.
Yes.
So, so what you're saying is the Sajjan, I'm like totally confused with
What
Eastern,
time?
Central, and my time.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, what you're saying is 11:30 to 12:30 is 3 to 1 Sajjana Sangatyam.
What I'm saying is, anyway for Sajjan Sangatyam, it's only like as per the example today, only 4 of us joined, right? And if even more people join, they can listen to the sutras, explaining of sutras and understand the sutras. So as Patanjali, we usually log in at 11 just to understand easier your timing. 11 o'clock Central Time, you log in for the Patanjali sutras, right?
Yeah.
And then for Sajjan Sangatya for 3 to 1, we do 11:30 your time, right?
No.
Sorry,
That's
10:30 your
10:30.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10:30 your time. But now, as per today, what you put in the group that we will start half an hour late. So basically, 3 to 1 is also starting at 11 your time.
So what you're saying is we will just stop doing the book reading and we will just do the Patanjali Sajjan Sangat, Patanjali Sutras.
That could also be the book reading because we are reading the book. We can chant the mantras. We can, I mean, after we are done, and we are discussing, so that could become the Sajjan Sangatya too.
Yeah.
And we can continue the book reading back from Monday. So Monday to Thursday, we can keep book reading. Friday, we can do the Patanjali Sutras.
Yeah, so that way they will also get little inspired about our Patanjali Sutras.
Yeah. At least they can listen. Whoever is new, they can listen what we are saying. And we say in English in a simple language, right? So they can understand what sutras, what are we saying. Just as a layman, if I enter the class.
Yeah. I still am so totally confused, but I will figure it out. we will do. Mine is mountain time. Usually I post it in Central Time, and then now I'm posting it in Eastern Time.
Eastern Time, yeah.
I thought it was Central Time, so that's why I was.
If I say mountain time, people may ask what is mountain time, so I don't post.
What is the time there right now?
We are 1 hour behind the Central Time.
Okay,
so 2 hours.
11:40 something perhaps.
Yeah, for you 2 hours behind. For Eastern Time, 2 hours behind.
Okay. So now 1:30 here. There it is. 11:30.
Deepika, where are you, Deepika?
I'm
You're in?
tried. Eastern Time.
Okay. Eastern Time.
Both are Eastern Time, Prachi and Deepika.
Me, myself also. All
you are. 3 of you are Eastern Time. Okay.
Madhuri, I can explain the whole thing again with the mountain time.
No, it's okay. I think if you explain it to me again also, I'll be confused. Let me just not think about it, and then we will do what we will follow, because that is what we agreed on. On Fridays, we will expose them to Patanjali, expose them.
Until the decision is made, I don't post anything.
Yeah,
only tonight I'll post.
I will send you.
Only,
I will send you. Yeah.
Only